All right, Robert, Huggyman, unsung hero 2, who strays from the path of the normal. That's great, man. Do that. The normal's boring, man. The normal is normative. The normal is what? Is it the lowest common denominator? A little higher? I don't know. Yeah, stray from that path, man. Explore the edges of things. That's what I like to do too, man. That's a really good thing. And I like your username, Unsung Hero. It's fun to say. You know, it has its own music to it. Unsung Hero. And also, it's poets usually sung the praises of heroes, so it has a poetic reference to it too. So I think it is a first-rate username. But I like Hockey Man too. I do. I like Hockey Man also. I do. Hey, you the way you reframed the issue, the question, from the corruption of religion to the obsolescence of religion is fascinating, man. That's great. That's so interesting. It's an entirely different question, isn't it? Huh? It's and it opens up a lot of really interesting things to explore. Intellectually, you know, like what is the nature of obsolescence? What does it mean for something to be obsolete? You know, and whether whether religion is obsolete. Interesting. The way I understand your thesis is that, or the way what I hear from your video is that religion is now obsolete. Given the current conditions, given the modernity of science and the democratic political structure, science. And I missed something, I think, but science, the democracy. That basically religion has become obsolete. It's very provocative, man. It's very provocative, man. Great thesis, very interesting. It'll be curious to see. I mean, when do things become obsolete? You know, when they're no longer useful or when they're superseded by a better thing. Usually tools of some kind are things that we consider to be obsolete because people just stop using them because something better comes along. So, so what functions does religion serve? You know, what functions does religion serve? What functions has it served in the past, which it no longer serves? It's a curious question. It's funny. I kind of bend and twist my head when I think sometimes. I think because I grew up with dogs, you know, and a lot of other animals. But whenever they didn't understand something, they always turn their head like that. So I think I picked that up from the dogs, you know. Oh my God. Hey, I like eggnog too, and that cape looks good, man. It's dramatic. Capes are the most dramatic piece of clothing you can have. Well, sash is dramatic too. If you had a sash and a cape, man, you'd be all set, huh? Just zipping around. Heaven and hell. Yeah, I think hell is a very destructive doctrine. Terrifying doctrine. The idea that people teach children about the doctrine of hell just frightens me. I kind of consider it cruel. Of course, if people believe in it and believe that they must warn others about it, they have no choice but to do so. In which case, it's not done with a cruel intent. But I was thinking, you know, it's the fear is the most primitive emotion. So fear is the most powerful way to control people, at least in the short sense, is fear. You see governments doing this all the time, creating fears and saying, well, we must do this, and instilling fear in people because you can control people. You can also control people through rewards. So you have, say, the rewards in heaven. So it's punishment reward. You know, every employer uses this. They don't go as far as hell, but every employer uses a system of rewards and punishments to kind of modify the behavior and to get conformity and particular conduct out of their employees. It doesn't really work to unleash creative powers, I don't think, to really create a thrilling, creative, productive environment when you need new ideas and new things and new approaches. I don't think fear really works. Fear sort of shuts down the cognitive processes, I think. Rewards too. I mean, rewards kind of make people goofy, you know. Yeah, I gotta get a cherry on my sundae, you know. But it's a great incentive creator, a reward. Blah blah blah. So you know, what you might want to look at is when I mean, we know that in the past, religions have replaced other religions. So a question would be if a certain religion displaced or replaced another religion, and if that was sort of an organic process, why did the older religion become obsolete? You know, were there needs that the newer religion met that the older religion did not meet? You know, Greece, if you take ancient Greece, they had democracy. And they had lots of different kinds of religions, you know. That was later supplanted by, well, they also had philosophy, and they had a branch of philosophy that became quasi-religious, Neo-platonism, the people who developed the thought of Plato. That had a religious aspect to it, too. And it was, for a time, I understand, it was a competitor of Christianity. But I think it lost that battle. I don't know whether it lost that because it was because Christianity offered something that people felt was more needed, and so Neoplatonism became obsolete, or whether it was because Neoplatonism was more of a philosophy than a religion, or because simply the power and the might of the Roman Empire had, you know, adopted Christianity as the religion to unify the empire, and so it was crushed. I just don't know. We know there are areas where Islam replaced Christianity. I think in North Africa. It also replaced Zoroastrianism for the most part in Persia. So maybe inherent in the Islamic religion there was something that rendered the older religions obsolete. So you might want to take that approach, comparing, you know, looking at religions replacing other religions, and, you know, exploring maybe a bit why they replaced, and then a curious part is going to be asking what needs, aside from what functions religion fulfills, like providing, in, you know, many years ago, a governance structure, maybe in some places still today, a governance structure, ethical code, etc., a way to explain life, sort of a cosmology, etc., and a legal framework, which is very, very useful, but also what sort of needs it filled, not just functions. It fulfilled, like, God, I'm not being very articulate about this, I'm sorry, but, you know, I mean, having a law to go by is functional. That's very helpful. But something like this apparent need people have for immortality, I don't know where it comes from. I mean, I personally don't feel a need for immortality, but most of the larger religions promise you some form of immortality. Why do people feel the need for that? You know, when they say that a religion offers them hope, I think a lot of it boils down to a desire for immortality. Now, I don't know if, say, science can offer that. I mean, I guess it does in the weird way of, you could have perfect clones, and you could, I mean, you see this on science fiction shows, right? You could transfer your thoughts and consciousness into your next clone and keep going on and on, you know, transferring your mind into future clones. I mean, I guess that's a kind of immortality. I don't know, but this sort of need for immortality, I don't know. Can that be made obsolete? It's something to study and I think about. It'd be very, very interesting, man. Yeah, what needs does religion fill? You know, emotional needs. God, man, I got some stuff in here. Adam and Eve and things of that nature. Gosh, man, my notes. You know, I write these things down. I can't read my own writing anymore. I mean, it's always been like that, but it's just worse. Oh, every year it's worse. I agree with you about these politicians having to come forward and say, "Oh, I'm really, really religious." I don't understand it at all. It's really strange here in the States because we're supposed to have this secular government, right? You know, it shouldn't matter what religion someone is in order to reach public office. You know, public office is not supposed to be a religious post, but well, I could do a whole video on, you know, the quest for power of various religious groups. It's very strange. Religion is generally uncompromising in its basic tenets. However, politics is the art of compromise and negotiation. So in a way, I think that religion sort of undoes itself by engaging in politics. It kind of protects religion not to be, engaged in politics or engaged in power. And I'm out of time, man. Sorry. I might make a second one, or I might wait for you to respond to this one. We'll see how it goes. It depends on what's in my notes, man. All right, buddy. Take care.